Make that your #1 focus. To tell you a story about the craziest thing that's ever happened to me in my... We learned that he got in the penalty box multiple times. We're currently sitting right now. You can hear the line outside. You should just do this outside. Should we do that outside? What's going on? Welcome to another episode of Let's Get Involved. In this episode, I'm gonna tell you a story about the craziest thing that's ever happened to me in my life, legitimately. You couldn't even make this up. We're gonna talk about how the man holding the camera right here, this camera looking at me, Tim, T-Pack Films, how we met. We're gonna talk about why I've continued to work with Tim from that first impression that he made on me. And we're gonna share a couple mindset tips that'll help any DJ or creator when they first get going. Today, we're about to head to Antigonish, Nova Scotia, playing a university-wide event. Come along for the ride, some Nova Scotia scenery, playing a big show tonight. Tim, how we feeling?
Let's get involved.
Bear with me. Tim on the spot. I didn't have this ready in my mind. He asked me a good tip. I'm only on my 3rd cup of coffee of the day, so give me a couple seconds to process. Loading, little loading clip right here. So I think the #1 thing, and I've mentioned this before, that if you're a DJ, you're a creator, you're a videographer, whatever it is, you need to know what makes you unique and understanding who you are, like yourself. Fully understand who you are and how you want to be different, and make that your #1 focus as you build out your plan to make your brand. Ride #1 of the day. Ride #1 of the tour. 2023. 2023 seemed like so far away to me. Now we're in 2023. All right, we're heading to St. FX for this university show. It's gonna be crazy. It's Frost Week. Callie, what's Frost Week all about?
So Frost Week is about bringing all the new students back and celebrating New Year's Eve with all your friends at St. FX.
So we're bringing everybody back together for a new semester and essentially celebrating New Year's Eve. And Callie is going to explain how to pronounce the city of where we're going, because I can't get it right.
We're going to Antigonish, Nova Scotia.
Let's go, let's get involved. Sweet.
You make that sound really easy, and I still don't think I could sing.
Yeah. Nice song. Yeah, basically last night, so flew from Washington, DC to Toronto, then Toronto to Halifax. The flight to Toronto, we did an emergency back through security and then ran all the way to our gate at the very end of the D terminal.
Only to sit on the plane for another hour.
Yeah, so I ran and then we sat another 45 minutes because it started snowing and they had to de-ice the plane. All right, we just stopped at Tim Hortons, but just learned that Tim, the man holding the camera right now, has had his own secret business enterprise all this time. Timbits, named after him. We got 10 Timbits that we're gonna eat. We might eat all of them, but trying to eat somewhat healthy. Look at these things. Like, what is that? Do you know what that is, Callie?
I think it's nut and coconut and sugar.
Ooh, Tim, are you a nut, coconut, sugar guy?
I'm not.
And from last video, I have to mention real quick, Tim only played soccer when he was 3, but he did play many years of hockey, and we learned that he got in the penalty box multiple times. So this mashup is one of my favorite mashups ever, Tim.
Ever?
Huh? Ever. I'm more and more less worried about when I make a mashup or new edit for a show on it being a part of a certain sound. I just want to create epic moments that are unexpected, and this is like a totally different sound of what I usually play in a show, but it's gnarly, it's nasty, house music. Those drums just create so much tension before the drop right here. I feel like halfway through that drop right there, need to find a song that will pair really well as a transition with like a hip hop, a recognizable hip hop sample where people can sing along before I bring in the next track, because this type of drop at a more college show, I'm not sure if it's going to hit as hard. So I got to bring something in for people to sing along to and then do a quick transition to something else. Okay, so Tim and I just got to Antigonish. I'm saying it wrong either way, I don't know which one honestly, but we're checked into the hotel. We're going to tell you the story, craziest thing that ever happened to me last night. But first, we're gonna share the story on how Tim and I first met and how we first started working together and how he started working on my team full-time. Sorry. Tim and I just grabbed dinner. We're in the green room at St. FX in Antigonish, Nova Scotia. Currently under the heater, getting some heat on my hands, freezing on the walk over here. We were offered a ride, but we insisted that we just wanted to walk after dinner, and kind of wish we took the ride. But we're about to sound check, and the energy is there tonight. 1,200 tickets sold. Gonna be a good one. We're heading to sound check. And last night on my first flight to Canada, to Toronto, we did an emergency landing, and I had no idea that was coming. It was a surprise and it was scary. And at some point I'm gonna tell you the story. What's going on? First show of the year, 2023. Currently prepping the set, some last minute changes, and can feel the energy, because where we're currently sitting right now, you can hear the line outside. Are you filming right now?
Yeah.
Last night, the craziest thing happened to me. So, flying from the US to Canada, I had a connecting flight in Toronto. We're flying into Toronto, it's only an hour-and-a-half flight, and we're about to land the plane. No big deal, don't think anything of it. We're pulling up to the runway, then all of a sudden the pilot veers away without any explanation, just super fast veers away. Everyone on the plane's like looking at each other, what the hell is going on? And about 5-10 minutes later, the captain comes over the loudspeaker and says, "Our landing gear is malfunctioning, so we're going to come back around and try to land the plane again in about 15 minutes. We're waiting for the airport to man the emergency vehicles to be on station for when we land." So, personally for me, I'm immediately thinking this is not going to be a guaranteed safe landing. I start thinking about my family, my close friends. Like, I start wondering, like, have I been working hard? Am I proud of like who I am and what I've done? Like, I'm having those kind of thoughts. Like, I have no guarantee that we're gonna get through this. Like, I had no idea if the landing gear was gonna work at all or anything. So we start our approach back on the runway again. And the plane is going at a speed that I've never seen a plane go. It is going so slow, which made me feel a little bit better. No one on the plane is saying anything. It's just eerily quiet. The flight attendants have a really serious demeanor about them. They're kind of whispering to each other, and then last minute they run to their seats, they sit down, and they get ready. We approach to the tarmac, we land, and everything seems fine essentially. For a few seconds we were going like you normally would on a flight, but then the plane essentially, just especially in the front, just sank down lower. So it's like the landing gear almost failed after we landed, just to where the speed could get low enough. And we veered off to the left of the tarmac, and the front of the plane was like this and just stopped completely. And we had to be towed off by an emergency vehicle. Ambulances, fire trucks, and everything were around us. I mean, it was one of those moments that made you realize to be thankful for every moment you have, literally every single moment, because that could have gone way worse, obviously. And I'm thankful to even be here and to play this show tonight. And I've never had anything like that. I'm way more chill about it right now, a night later. If we had done this last night and talked about it, my demeanor about it would have been totally different. But that was intense. Fireside chat. Do you guys know my name, by the way? It's not ROSEDRiiVE. Do you know his name?
Teddy and Tim.
Oh my god. This is Tim, T-Pack Films. We're gonna pull this a little bit closer so you guys can see his face. That's what he looks like, Tim, T-Pack Films. So, we're in, what's the city? Try to say it. Where are we right now?
Jeez.
Antigonish. Antigonish, Nova Scotia. Tim and I met January 2020. Tim and I met.
It really was 2019 because COVID hasn't happened.
It was like, yeah, we'll lump in January 2020 since it was before COVID actually happened. Where did we meet and what was the event?
Algonquin College in Ontario.
Yep.
And
Ottawa,
and the event was opening for Pauly D for like a school event, right?
Yep. Algonquin College.
I didn't know too much about them, how events worked at the time, but yeah.
What was your mind? What were you thinking going into that?
Oh, I had no idea. I barely knew who Pauly D was, which was the first weird thing. So I had to do a bunch of research on finding out who this guy was, and then figure out why he was a DJ after that. Throwing myself into it, really. Rented a car and drove straight to Ottawa.
So Tim had some cool videos online, and he had been on my radar for a while on social media. Reached out.
Talked to you and your manager the summer before, right?
Yeah.
So 2019,
2019, we had been in touch for a while. Finally got to his area. He was going to college in Quebec. You say Quebec.
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 Sherbrooke, Quebec.
In Quebec at Bishop's University. And I'll just go ahead and interject really quick. Tim crushed that video.
Jimmy crushed the set.
He churned it out in the fastest time that anyone's ever made a video for me ever. And it was one of the best video. It was the best video. He's gotten a lot better since then. He makes even better videos now. But at the time it was the best. And I was like, this guy's got the it factor, so we got to bring him on the team. And
heard that about someone else sitting here too.
and we've been going together since. So what he did on that night is a good lesson for anyone that is a videographer. You want to make a good first impression, have a quick turnaround time, because before you really get to know somebody and you find out energetic wise, energy wise, do you guys get along? Do you like traveling together? The first thing that a DJ or a creator, that what they're gonna want to see from a videographer is like how quick you can work and how great that video is. So at the surface, I knew Tim was a good person. I got great first impression, but that video and how quick he had it ready the next morning. We finished the show. He drives back the same night back to Quebec 3 hours.
Yeah, 3-4 hours.
I had a show in Texas the next day after Ottawa. By the time we got there, that video was already ready before we even landed, and I was blown away. So a couple of lessons. So anyone that's watching right now, if you're a DJ, keep that in mind on qualities to look out for a videographer that you would want to work with. And if you're a videographer, write these things down on how Tim executed, and I was sold from day one based off of his videographer skills. But he's such a good guy that I was already sold before that. So
I put in all the effort.
There we go.
Yeah,
so now we're gonna go play the show at St. FX Frost Week event. See what all these hooligans are all about.
Get these people in here.
Hashtag hooligans. We just finished the show. It's 1:30 in the morning. We're headed back to Halifax Airport, a 2.5 hour drive. Tim's flying out at 10 a.m., so we gotta be there by 8. We're gonna leave here at 5:30 in the morning in about 3.5 hours. So real quick, Tim, hand me the camera. On a scale of A to F, you can say anything from F minus to A plus. You can say B minus, you can say C minus, D plus, A plus. What would you rate the show? What would you rate this show?
C plus.
Huh?
C plus.
C plus?
Yeah.
Why?
That's the setup, crowd, production, everything combined. C plus. B minus. Either way.
Yeah.
You grade it.
I would say like just pure energy wise, it was on the high B scale, but compared to a lot of the shows that we've done recently, there wasn't like as much energy or hype around like the fact that, in my opinion, that ROSEDRiiVE was there. I would give this one like you said, between the production, the stage, the crowd, the energy, somewhere between like a B minus, C plus. Probably I'll give it a B minus. I think that there could have been a little bit more of an energy buildup before I went on. This is a show where there wasn't an opener on stage, so I went on. Typically, we like to have a little bit more of a build-up. I think that it took people a little while to get used to my energy on stage.
That was the biggest thing.
So, otherwise, great energy. The crowd was awesome. Everybody there had a great time. Super respectful crowd. Good energy. I think we made some new ROSEDRiiVE fans in Nova Scotia. So, for the first show of 2023, starting off in Canada, this is a win. Next weekend, we're headed to Michigan. And we're going to take about a 3-hour nap and head to the airport. So to add on a little bit on why I gave it a little bit of a lower grade is because the production crew was good. They weren't there like while I was performing. And I like to use both the CDJs on channel 2 and channel 3. The channel 3 mixer, like at the beginning, for some reason, was just quieter. I don't know why. And I had to multiple times unplug the cords from the right CDJ deck 3 or channel 3, plug it back in for the volume to go all the way back up. So that's kind of why my score is lower, because just like there were things that wasn't quite on point with the production, and that could have been fixed like ahead of time. I don't know what really caused that, just a loose connection or something, but yeah, that's kind of part of the reason why I gave it like a more of a lower grade. We made it to Halifax. About 3 hours of sleep. We're gonna fly home. Big week this week. Yeah, there you go, Tim Sean. See you next week after the next show and the next video. Thanks for watching.